Hello YouTube, I've got here this morning and I'm going to show you how to fit a awning light into a caravan. Now, firstly, I'm not a sparky or an electrician, so yeah, take that from what you will. I won't take any responsibility for any injuries, etc. And then also, this bit's really important. I'm going to be going over a few different ways of putting this in and wiring it. So for example, I'm going to show you how to do it when the hardboard's in. I'm also going to give you advice how to do it if the hardboard is in around the side, okay? And I'm going to show you a couple of alternate ways you can wire it if you've got a pre-existing wiring in place, or if you're doing it straight to the battery, etc. So let's get to it. So firstly, this is obviously where the door is, and this is where normally you'd put an awning light. In my situation, I'm not going to be putting it here because the awning light actually doesn't fit, which is annoying because it was going to go here. But I'm going to show you what you'd do if you were going to do it in this situation, okay? So this is what the board will look like underneath the frame. Normally you'll have also potentially a bit of wood going along here, but this could be filled with like either sort of fiberglass or foam, okay? It doesn't really matter for installation. Now I'm going to be fitting my awning light above this window, but not on the inside, obviously on the outside. And I'm in a lucky enough situation where the hardboard isn't here. So I'm going to, but this is something, if you were to do it above a door, a window even, this is potentially what the frame could look like. Again, with either fiberglass, sort of wool, or you'll have a like hard sort of foam in there, okay? Now, if you are lucky enough to have a situation like me, right, this is where you can actually line up the holes and see if potentially you could do it in such a way that measuring it up centrally and seeing if any of these actually go onto the board itself, but more importantly that you're not crimping this cable in at all. So looking at the outside of the window frame, it looks like potentially this is on a bit of wood, and then and this is also on a bit of wood. So we're going to be looking at going above here, and then we need to calculate, we need to measure this bit up, which I done earlier, and see exactly which bits of wood are going to come into contact with the light itself. So that rubber seal just above that is where I'm going to put the light, and that is just where, if we go look on the other side, we look there, that little dent there is where the rubber seal is, and above it is the wooden beam itself. So I'm now measured halfway along. It's 4575, and I've just marked it there. Can't really see it that well, so I'm just going to drill a small little hole through there, and that'll be where we'll thread the electrics through, and then from there we'll work out the other two holes. Right, that's the first hole done, and don't worry, that hole will get slightly bigger and I will insulate the cable so they don't get bitten. But this is just a way of where we can see where the other two holes are going to be. So if we hold it up like this, we can then have a vague idea where these two holes are going to be. Now, you're probably asking, why does that matter? It's because it's not, even though it's not on the instructions, what we are going to do is put some wood behind here and a bit of wood behind there to act as almost a washer for the light and the screw. Now, if that doesn't make sense, don't worry, because I will be showing you in the you'll see an example of it basically. Now, I have used the cable to keep it in place. I'm just going to drill slightly into here and here, just to help the screws go in. Now, another thing I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a load of mastic around here, all right, just to sort of glue it into space. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put a cover around this wall. I'm going to make that hole slightly bigger, and I'm going to put a something around the wire just to protect it a bit. So take this stuff off before it sets, because obviously it's a nightmare. I did put loads under it in the end. I pissed his shirt, but I sort of had a bit of an accident with it. So clean that off, and then let's get the, as you can see, it's starting to flow through the screw holes. Let's get the screws in sharpish. As you can see, they're protruding a little bit. So we're going to get the wood and then put it on the other side and then finish it off. As you can see, it's going into the wood. If it wasn't going to go into the wood, then we'd put a block there and a block there, or even one big bit just going on to act as a washer. It doesn't have to be a thick bit. It could literally be 3mm wide just to act as a bit of a, for it to go into. Right, these screws are designed to go into this and hold it, but it's best to be safe than sorry. So let's finish them screws off. Here, as you can see, the sealant's been pushed out. Just get, and there should have been on top as well a little bit. Just wipe away the excess. All right. Last but not least, obviously after a while that's gonna wear onto that. So let's get one of these. Yeah, push it through the hole, or maybe even a smaller thing. And just to protect that cable. These are obviously protected by this, but just to be safe. All right. Sweet. Okay. Now next, let's work out how to do the electrics. But just before then, what would you do if your wall was completely under wraps, so you didn't want to do it? We'll just quickly go over that. Luckily for you guys, a lot of the times you want your awning light above your door, and you'll have a cabinet here or wherever. So all you need to do really is hide the cable from, let's say, center to either the next cabinet, where you can just drop it down the bottom and down, or, you know, towards the other way. So the best way to do that is expose a little bit of it by drilling through the center hole, and then what you're going to need to do is just use trunking. I know this isn't proper, this is like, you know, trunking which can be hidden, but you can get some trunking and take it into the other bit. Before you drill into anything though, you need to discover if there's any sort of cables in there, because obviously you don't want to go through your mains cable. But yeah, let's get on to the actual electrics part itself. Sorry, the other method you could go about patching this bit up is you could just take the hardboard away with a Stanley knife. It's only 3mm thick. Cut out very neatly, obviously peeling the seal back like this as well. Expose this bit of wall, and then use that as a template to cut a Stanley through hardboard. Now hardboard is literally just this stuff here, all right? Just to cover it back up, you can literally cut it with a Stanley blade. All right, I've kept, I know it looks like a mess, I've kept this bit down here to use as a template. The rest of it's in the garage. It's templates for this stuff, so it should be fairly easy. But let's get to the electrics now. So to basically explain what we need to do, I'm just going to use this as a little example. So put black to black in there and red to red, okay? Live and neutral in there, and we're going to use it on a 9-volt battery. Hopefully the battery hasn't died, and let's see if it works. All right. Yeah, as you can see, time that correctly. It's now chucking it down, and the awning light works. As you can see, this one's got a switch, and I'll show you quickly if yours doesn't have a switch what to do. So obviously if it doesn't have a switch with the battery disconnected, all you're going to do is have a little cut in here, yeah, and then I'm wiring a switch. All right. Now let's get to the next couple of electrical setups you may have. So one of the first setups you may have is you may have a battery like so, yeah, and obviously excuse the mess, we'll get onto a video on this all at a later date, but you may have a battery set up like this, right, and it may only have one of these prongs. All right, so I suggest going on eBay, buying these. Yeah, they're pretty inexpensive, they're pretty cool, and you can actually add another one. Now what you'll do then, you'll just wire one to the battery. Obviously you've got to presume that this is already earthed correctly. Yeah, I presume it will be if your Caravan's already running a 12-volt system. And then one to the pods. But if you are going to go to the pods, right, you need to then about 6 inches away, yeah, and wire in one of these inline fuses, okay? Again, all you'll do is cut the cable, put the fuse in, and then reattach it, and then carry on with your day. Now what you may find is actually you don't have one of these systems, all right? Well, you do have one of these systems, but actually what you might have is one of these systems, all right? So ensuring it's off, which mine is, yeah? And all you're going to do is wire in a positive to one of these, yeah? And then the negative into the negative bus bar, okay? As you can see, I've already been experimenting, that needs to come out. But yeah, and then it should work. And basically, when this is all on, all this will be fired up like so. And then you can label them however you wish. Now, I will do a better video on this system itself, all right? At a later date. Another thing you can do, let's just turn it off, is if you've run out of these, is maybe wire off one of the existing ones, like the cabin filter, the main cabin filter, filter cabin lights, and you'll need to put a 3-piece one going to the original wire and then one going to your new one. Now, the reason I would do out of all of these is doing on the main cabin lights is if you're using the awning light, you're most likely not going to be inside, so it's not going to overload the circuit. Right guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. I will be doing, I know I haven't done a video in about a month. It's because I've been so busy. I've also been really ill, and basically I want to get on to the part of the caravan where there's quite a lot to watch rather than just little nitty bitties. But look forward to the tail lights getting repaired, the structure getting repaired itself, and running main cabling in. A lot of the things I've mentioned in the videos, I will go into a bit more detail. For example, like the awning light, I'm going into a bit more detail with that. However, I'll brush over it in part 1. If you have any questions, please make sure you put in the comments. And also, if the awning light isn't if it's 12 volt, then yeah, crack on. If it's anything higher than that, then get a professional in to do it. I take no responsibility for anyone attempting any of this stuff. But yeah, thanks again.